Well, looks like Eddie Hearn believes that Devin Haney's going to be returning to the zone after he gets these belts off of Kambosos. By now, everybody knows that Devin Haney, he ended up leaving the zone, ended up leaving Eddie Hearn. He ended up signing a 3-fight deal with Top Rank and Develop Promotions. And he's supposed to be fighting on ESPN, where he fights Kambosos, I guess, twice. If he wins, he fights Kambosos twice. And after that, he's supposed to fight Lomachenko. I'm saying if Lomachenko's not available for whatever reason, then he's probably going to fight another Top Rank fighter. But he has signed a Top Rank now, basically. And he's fighting on ESPN. So when they were speaking with Eddie Hearn during the interview, Eddie Hearn basically said that, hey, Devin Haney, what he's doing is going out there to get the belts. And once he gets the belts, he's become undisputed. He's going to come bring the belts back to the zone. He's going to come back and continue to work with the zone and with Matchroom, I guess, because that Devin is a quarter loyal person, and that because they pay him well and they don't give him any BS, and that everything that they promised that they deliver. Well, I'm gonna have to say no. I don't see him coming back to the zone. Number one, Eddie Hearn didn't deliver anything that he said he was going to be able to deliver. He said he was going to be able to deliver him Lomachenko. Didn't do that. Not only that, he let Lomachenko fight his fighter Campbell and put him to a space where he took the WBC belt, and then knew all this franchise stuff happened, and that's kind of one of the reasons why Devin Haney was kind of in the situation that he was in. Eddie Hearn, his methods of doing things in the UK, they work. In the United States, they don't. And he's busy, basically, I've always said it, he's playing checkers while everybody else is playing chess, putting their guys into position to get, what they want and doing this thing. And that's what basically Top Rank did. That's what Bob Arum did when it came to, getting Lomachenko that WBC belt over Devin Haney. Then after that, putting him into a space where they fought for putting him into a space where that he ended up fighting Teofimo Lopez, in a big time unification, and then getting him the quote franchise belt, and then putting all this confusion about undisputed. But he put his guys in the best position to win. Like even right now, Teofimo Lopez coming off a loss, moving up. Yet in the WBO, he's like at number 2. They moved him up to like number 2 in the rankings. He's able to do certain things. He's able to make certain chess moves that Eddie Hearn's just not able to do. So that's the number one thing. The fact that you haven't been able to get him any of the fights, just like you couldn't get Tevin Farmer any of those big fights, and you couldn't get Demetrius Andrade any of those big fights. And one of the big things that I've always said is the fact that with him working with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and with the Zone was that he wasn't going to get any major fights, which ended up being the truth. People called me a hater, and I'm sure people had negative things to say about that, but it ended up being the case. He didn't get any big fights at all. None of the fights that Eddie Hearn said he was going to get. And I said, if you're on the Zone, your exposure is limited. You're not gonna be able to progress as a fighter. You're not turning into a star fighting on the Zone. You're not. Excluding nobody. You're not. Even somebody like Canelo Alvarez, whenever he went to the Zone, his numbers suffered. When it comes to viewership, and when it came to even his gates for his fights. But he didn't care because he was getting paid a substantial amount of money, so it didn't really matter. He was getting paid as if he was doing those numbers. So he didn't care because of that, until they dropped him down to $15 million a fight. Then it was like, okay, I'm going to take on these lesser fighters. Then he went on to PBC, did his thing over there. Then obviously then they gave him what they gave him with this new deal with the Zone. So again, he's getting paid to a point where it doesn't matter about the back end. But, for somebody that's young, somebody like a Devin Haney, it matters if you're not able to progress or grow your career. And one of the things that Eddie Hearn also does is when he has you, as I've said before, he burns bridges. He burns bridges so you have nowhere to go. So the main bridge was Showtime and PBC. And with the things that happened with him threatening, going back and forth with Ellaby, trashing on Tank events, then Bill with his whole, threatening Ellaby's light, whatever, all that stuff, it put him into a space where that wasn't something that was viable. Espinoza came out and he even said, it's like, we wouldn't be able to sign Devin Haney right now because we don't have any fights for him. So that bridge was burnt. So the only thing was left was Top Rank. And I figured he wouldn't go to Top Rank because they're gonna F you. Like, financially, they're gonna get you. And then you're also gonna be put into a space where you're gonna get stuck. Well, it's gonna be very difficult to get out. But surprisingly, he signed with Top Rank. He ended up signing with Top Rank. But now, even though there's negative things about Top Rank, the reality is he is going to get more exposure on Top Rank than he would have under DAZN. He's now in a space where he's going to get those fights. All these fights that he couldn't get on DAZN, now he's going to get. He's going to get 2 Kambosos fights if he wins the first time, which I believe he will. And after he beats him, he's going to fight Lomachenko or whoever it is, other Top Rank fighter he fights. But if it's Lomachenko, that'll be 2 big fights that he wanted that DAZN couldn't, get to get him. But with the new people that he's working with, they got him that. And then he's now on a bigger platform with ESPN. One bridge was burnt, but another one was there. Him being on this particular platform, he's going to be able to now grow and progress in his career. Is he going to become a superstar? No, he's not. Because being particular fighters on Top Rank, you're not going to become a big time superstar. It's not like this limited growth that's available to you. Not even for the likes of a Floyd Mayweather. Not for Terrence Crawford. We see how they're treating Shakur now even. So, Devin unfortunately is going to kind of go in the same path. But he's still going to be able to grow to the levels of Terrence Crawford, or even maybe even a little further, because he's better at his father and everything. They might be a little bit better at promoting him. But, there is a cap. But the cap is still a whole lot higher than where you were at DAZN. So now you're getting all these bigger fights that you didn't have before. You're going to go up to 140 pounds eventually. That's the other thing. You're going to go up to 140 pounds. He's going to set you up in a way where you're going to get a title. He's probably going to set you up in a way where you end up being a unified champion. At that point, why exactly would you go back to DAZN? To go backwards in your career? Because even if DAZN was, quote, paying you more money, with the progression that you're going to make, you're going to be able to make around the same amount of money. If what they said he was getting paid at DAZN is true. You're going to be able to get yourself to that point. You're going to be able to do that. So, why exactly would you go backwards? And to make it worse, one of the reasons why you're on ESPN, you're with Top Rank, is because DAZN and Eddie Hearn wouldn't put up the money that was going to be necessary and wouldn't set up the deal that was going to be necessary to bring that fight to DAZN, to put yourself in a safer place. They left you out here naked. They basically left you out there naked, put you into a space where you had to do something that you might not necessarily want to do in order to get what you want. So why would you do that if they didn't go all in for you? They go all in for Canelo all the time. 40-something million. They want to put up 35 million for him to fight that Ryder dude or whatever it is at the end of the year. 35 million. But they're not willing to go all out for Demetrius Anthony. They're not willing to go all out for for you. So why exactly would you go back? When you look at everything as far as the progression of your career, you growing, the next 5, 6, 7 years, what you might want to do, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever to go back there. Makes absolutely no sense. And then the biggest part about it is the fact that he is signed to Top Rank now. So because when you are signed to Top Rank, it's not easy getting out of a Top Rank contract. What they like to do is, you have like 2 fights. It gets to a 3rd fight, 1 fight left in your contract. Hey, you need to get this extension done. If you don't do that extension, they'll put you on the shelf for a year. You'll be on the shelf for a year and a half, 2 years in litigations before you're able to get out that contract. Like Jesse Vargas had to do, like Mikey Garcia had to do, and countless others. So the question is going to be, do you, at your age, at 22, 23 years old, at 23 years old, are you going to want to do that? You're going to be probably, 24, 25 at that point by the time your deal is done? Are you really going to want to do that at 25 and basically just, erase 2 years from your career? Because what are you going to go back to DAZN? I'm going to take an L in 2 years out of my life to go to DAZN? And what is this exactly about? Oh, he's bringing the belts back. Devin is a growing kid. He's somebody that stays on point when it comes to his nutrition, when it comes to his weight and his training. And he's having a hard time making 135 pounds now. He's basically grown out of the division. If this fight wasn't set, he probably would have already moved up to 140 pounds if he couldn't get these Kambosos fights. If he couldn't get these 3 fights, he probably would have went him to 140 pounds. So reality is what? He'd get the belts. He's gonna drop them anyway. So you're basically going back to the zone with no belts anyway, because you don't intend to defend at 135 pounds. And even if you did, the other guys, they'll just ignore you. They'll just put you back into FW space, and they'll just ignore you. And they'll just maneuver their guys to do other things until you moved up in weight. And then they'd go, what's going to start collecting up all the belts. You know? That's all it would be. So you'll end up being in the same messed up place with still a closed platform, with a promoter that can't get you any fights. He's incapable of making moves in this country, in the United States. Those are just the facts. He's incapable of making those moves in this country. So there's, even though there are negatives, a lot of negatives, to Top Rank, reality is still, when it comes to progression of your career, is still a better space for you to be in. And maybe, over the next couple of years, you're able to, fix that bridge over there with Showtime, the place you should have went to in the first place. And maybe progress over there later on in your career at 27, 28 years old. Because you see, that's what, as soon as Jaron Ennis and his camp were able to go there, that's where they went. And you see how his career is progressing. And he's going to be getting those title shots soon, and wait till you see what he's going to be in the next 24 months. Wait till you see where he's at in the next 24 months. But regardless, at this point, as far as what was available to him, he probably picked the best choice as far as progressing his career and fighting the people that he wants to fight. And fighting the people that he wants to fight, he's picked the best place he can for himself at this particular point. So back to the zone, I don't see that happening at all. I don't see that happening whatsoever. Especially with the exposure he's gonna get and what's gonna happen for him in the next year and a half. Regardless of the back end aspect of it, because it being Top Rank and that back end money that you would have got if you were on Showtime, PBC, you're not gonna get that. And it's gonna be, they're gonna push you and promote you to a certain extent. That's just the reality of it. And they're gonna try to F you. It's just, people try to say when he was on DAZN, hey, no, he's gonna get these fights. Like, no, he's not gonna get them. He's not some kind of special snowflake where, the rules don't apply to him when it comes to working with DAZN and when it comes to working with Eddie Hearn. It's the same thing. And unfortunately, when it comes to being with Top Rank, same thing. He's not a special snowflake. So he's gonna get the fights like Terence Crawford got him. He got Jeff Horn. He got the dude from the UK. He got Undisputed. He got all these things. But there was a cap on what they were willing to do as far as his progression was concerned. There was a cap on the investment they're willing to do, as it pertained to his career. So, wish him nothing but the best. I'm not sure, after all these fights are gonna, what's exactly gonna happen, but the zone, going back there, don't see it happening. Like, subscribe, share.